Redbird BBQ is a Texas-style barbecue restaurant that has a nice Cajun flair to it.
Going over your meats, I got 1 pound of the brisket. We got a house sausage link.
So even though we're heavily Cajun influenced, we do have a really unique flair on doing Persian-inspired items on the menu. I think Redbird might be the only Persian barbecue restaurant in Texas, so we're gonna continue to dig deep in those roots.
Half-pound brisket, half-pound ribs. What else are you thinking?
I think it's very important that you have a really strong Holy Trinity. So for our Holy Trinity, it's brisket, ribs, and sausages. I'd say our brisket's top-notch. I'd say our pork ribs are top-notch. And I'd say our sausage program is maybe the best in the state.
So this is Mr. Drew and Jimbo. These guys get here early in the mornings around 4:30. You really want to be strategic with where you place your briskets. The way we like to load them is we like to load the points to the fire, and we'll also load the burn-in sides towards the wall. We do about 40-ish briskets a day. We're gonna load here about 15 to 20 on each pit. We load 5 to a row. Some places you'll see 4. We'll be running the pit first couple hours, slower and slower, more so just trying to get a lot of smoke on them. Maybe about 225. Most of the cook, we'll try to shoot for about 250, 255, 260. And then the very end, we'll crank it up about 275 to finish the briskets. I think any hotter than that, they start to get a little bit crispy. We do not like crispy briskets at Redbird. What we're doing here is we're gonna be seasoning our Koobideh sausage. This is a very special sausage for me. The seasonings in the Koobideh sausage is gonna be turmeric. There's some dried onion in there. There's some onion powder. There's some black pepper, some salt. Koobideh is a very simple dish, but you let the meat, you let the onion, you let all of that speak for itself. I really wanted to incorporate something that came from my Persian heritage. This sausage here actually took us probably about 6 months to develop. It's a lot of different things that you have to take into consideration because there are a lot of herbs in here. Herbs carry moisture, so you have to factor in the moisture content in the herbs.
We take sausage really serious here just because I feel like if you want to be the best, you have to make really good sausage.
We'll let this sit overnight, just really soak in all of the salt, the cure, and all the spices in there.
There's a lot of technicalities that go into sausage, so it's not just putting some meat in there and putting some stuff in there and then crossing your fingers. There's a lot of science behind it.
This is a good intel that the meat's grinding really nice. You just see it's very clean. That's what you're looking for. This is what makes it really special is a very unique flavor profile, but also a very unique color. My Uncle Mo was actually just in Iran. He actually just brought us a ton of saffron. I would say he probably brought about $4,000 to $5,000 worth of saffron. This is about as good as it can get. For the Koobideh sausage, we'll get a little bit of saffron. So when you're eating the Koobideh, know there was saffron in there. We're making this into somewhat of a powder. My family from Iran always told us that the best way to extract the saffron is over ice. It is not hot water, it is ice. When it melts down, it's gonna bring the most flavor out from the saffron. And what it will do is it'll turn into this right here. This is gonna be what we mix with the milk powder and the herbs to add into the Koobideh sausage. We will robo-coop the onions. This is what makes Koobideh, is the dried onion aspect of the Koobideh, okay? This is very important. If you don't take the liquid out of the onions, the sausage will break and it'll get a little bit weird. We are going to incorporate everything to be able to mix it in the sausage. We'll put the dried onion mix. We'll put the green onion in here. And then we'll also put the dried onion that we did here in-house. Then we will add the rest of the sausage. We're gonna mix the sausage for about 30 seconds. Then this is when we're gonna add the liquid content. So this is when we're adding the herbs, the saffron, the milk powder to there. This is what's gonna bring everything together. So we'll take it and we'll see if it sticks to our hands really nicely. Honestly, you could put this on a skewer and direct heat it and it'd be amazing. But this to me is a perfect mix, and that's what we're looking for here. We are ready to case this sausage. I'm just slowly casing it here. And you can see how beautiful it is and how the herbs really see through. So right now I'm just making sure that there's no air pockets in there, and I'm just taking my time. There's no rush, especially when you're making really good sausage. Sausage day is a day for no rushing. I'm just slowly taking my time. The last thing you want is to be really aggressive here. You just want to have those really soft hands. We always lean on the bigger sides. If you're coming here, you're gonna get hooked up one way or the other. So after this process is done here, what we'll do is we'll put it in bus tubs, let it sit overnight. Let me show you all the walk-in fridge. This will last us about a week. We're doing about 100-ish briskets a week. We're doing about 100, 150 racks of ribs a week. This meat alone will last us about a week. So look at the marble on these briskets. I mean, it's honestly unbelievable. Looks like Wagyu meat. This is Mr. Jimbo. He's our butcher here. He trims everything, guys. He trims our briskets. I've never met someone that loves trimming meats more than Jimbo. What you'll see him doing here is he's separating the kind of loose fat, which we'll grind for tallow. This is hard fat, which we'll use for sausage. Burger meat, you're gonna see a more aggressive trim here than maybe you've seen at other spots. And I just think that helps the cook. It really helps everything cook evenly, but also it just helps whenever the briskets are finishing. You don't want to pull 2, 3, 4 different times. You want them all to be finishing at the same time.
Yeah, we like to keep everything uniform though. That way we know exactly how much room we're going to take on the pit. You know, everything cooks pretty evenly. And like I said, this doesn't get crispy. It's a lot easier for him when he's seasoning.
I think he does a better job than I do, if I'm being honest with you. I do think he trims top-notch brisket. The first quality that you have to have is you have to have passion for what you're doing. Jimbo has a ton of passion for trimming meats and barbecue in general. But this brisket here is about as good as you can get on the trim, and it makes my job a ton easier. This is the re-trim and seasoning area. I will put a little bit of seasoning on the bottom. I'll just put that right on top. This is gonna be a Worcestershire/mustard combo. So this is a 16 mesh pepper we like to use. And right here, I'm just seasoning a nice layer. You don't want too much pepper because it could get flaky, but you also wanna make sure you have enough pepper because the pepper helps dry the bark out, which is really nice. This is a seasoned salt. We make the seasoned salt here in-house. It's a combination of our Cajun-rubbed we make here, table salt, there's a little bit of sugar in there, some garlic, some onion. And that's a nice, good first layer. I like to pat it down just to getting everything kind of incorporated in, but then I'll hit it one more time. You don't want your meats too salty by any means, but you definitely don't want them underwhelming. And that brisket will be ready to go, and I will put it right here. This is 2, and I'll do about another 36 to 38 of them this afternoon, and we'll let them sit down, and then we'll pop them in the walk-in fridge for the guys in the morning. Yeah, so these are our Cajun flavored turkeys. We're looking for about 155 internal. So about 150 here, maybe slightly longer. This is melted butter that we melt down, and then we'll go ahead and pour butter on them here. What's gonna be on them is gonna be black pepper. And then what else is on them is our house Cajun-rubbed that we make here. The butter just helps them, I feel like just helps them stay nice and moist. And honestly, it's just, I think butter goes really well with turkey. So we'll wrap them up here. Nice and good wrap here. We'll let them rest for a minute and then we'll pop them in the warmer. When you grow up in this area, you start to consider yourself a Cajun. Port Neches is about an hour 15, hour 30 southeast of Houston. You know, we're about 30-ish minutes from the Louisiana border. It just made sense for me to go that route. And you know, it's some of my favorite food. This is my dad. He's been making the pita bread since we have had the Koobideh on the menu. This to me is what kind of sets us apart in a way. I think making the homemade pita bread and eating it with the Koobideh sausage really puts it over the top.
It was very important to him to start this place, and like he was saying, everything is made in the house. So we thought that would be best for us to make everything from scratch, including the pita. And if you notice, our pita is not round. It's a long pita because it fits the sausage. We make it so the sausage would be fit on there a little bit better.
My dad's always been involved in my life in general. He's always loved to cook. I think that's where I get it from. He loves to do things right, and he he's gonna do it himself. Instead of having someone else try to do the Koobideh or try to do the bread or try to do the Feta dip, he'd just rather do it himself.
By looking at the color, first of all, and the puffiness of the pita, if you look, there is all of the area has been cooked. That's what we're looking for right there.
See the inside, how it almost is like a pita pocket? That's what we're looking for. Most people, they'll put the whole sausage here and they'll eat it like this. I've seen some people do this and cut the sausage up and put it in as a pita bread. There's so many different ways to eat it. It just kind of depends on how you're feeling. We'll let them kind of air dry here. That way the bottom isn't damp. And then we'll bag them up and then we'll put them in our warmer here. And that way they'll stay warm until service.
We are making the feta sauce to go along with the Koobideh sausage.
I think it's a really big thing that we make everything in-house as much as we can because I think that's what makes us really unique. A barbecue, people travel all over the country. And so I feel confident when people are here that they're gonna have a good experience because we do that.
And the best part is to taste it. We always let him taste it. Everything that we serve here, he will taste.
It's really nice. I'd say
a little bit more honey.
A little bit honey, maybe a little bit more salt. All right, so the feta dip's done, and this will be served for the Koobideh today. We'll make it fresh every day. So these briskets have been on for about 4 or 5 hours now, and you can already see that they're starting to get a really nice color on them. So what we're gonna do is we'll scoot them all down, pull everything closer this way, further away from the firebox, and tighten everything up. We're also gonna foil tip them. The foiling, I believe, really helps protect the edges of the briskets. Even if you're building really nice fires, I still believe that it's nice to foil tip them. This process is important just so we're able to serve things the whole entire brisket. These briskets right now, they probably have another 10-ish hours to go. They look really nice. Whoever's eating tomorrow is gonna be in for a treat.
So we're getting close to service here. We're pulling off sausage. This is our Koobideh. This is our house here. It's looking really nice, pretty.
Yeah, so our doors open at 11 a.m. Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. When you come to Redbird, you will always see me cutting your meats. I've been doing that for 2 years straight. I think it's very important that the owners of the barbecue restaurant are there, getting that one-on-one time, even if it's for just maybe a minute.
The sides, I'll do the cheesy scalloped potatoes.
So one of our sides is our cheesy scalloped potato. Those are probably gonna be our best-selling side. It's a combination of 3 different cheeses. That process is very, very straightforward, and we'll pour some cheese on top of that. The cheesy potatoes are gonna be cheesy, and they're gonna be garlicky, and they're gonna be really good. So I would highly recommend getting those. I think a complete barbecue tray is just having everything on the tray hitting at all cylinders. People are traveling all over the country now. And so people come here and now they're expecting greatness. And so you always wanna make sure you meet those expectations. When you always wanna give the customer high energy and just as good of an experience as possible. As a team, that's what we try to do, is we try to build the perfect tray every time.